What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of What is Health, and today is keto only about blood sugar and ketones. Alright guys, so let me just start real quick and say this is going to ruffle feathers. If you don't like it, to be honest, I don't care. I'm really triggered right now. I saw some things on some nutrition labels and some things that were being promoted as keto friendly and healthy. And honestly, it just gripes at me. It really annoys me. I'm going to go into why. This might be a long one, so buckle in, bucko, because it's going to be an interesting video. So first, let's kind of talk about this. I feel like there's an issue with this perception of keto. Now, let me be clear. If your goals are simply to be in nutritional ketosis and keep decently low blood sugar at all times, and that is your focus, and that is you doing this successfully, and those are your goals, this video is not for you, because I'm just going to make you feel bad, and to be honest, you shouldn't. If those are your goals and you're getting to your goals, I encourage you, I love you, I support you, I lift you up, go get them, Tiger, I love it. However, if you are somebody that is doing keto to be optimal, to be healthy in all facets, not just blood sugar, but insulin sensitivity, leptin sensitivity, sex hormones, stress hormones, brain health, digestive health, if all of that matters to you, keep watching the video because I'm about to blow your freaking minds because I'm so upset. Here's my problem. 90% of people come to keto to be optimally healthy. There are those 10% that are just here, they eat the low-carb tortillas and low-carb bread. And again, I'm not judging you. If that's your goals, great. Those aren't my goals. I do keto and eat a whole food diet to be optimal. I want to function at my best. I want to do things at my best. And I know that a whole food, high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet with adequate protein, depending on goals, is the best way to get that done from a natural, ancestral, and biological perspective, okay? Here's my thing. When you have foods that are promoted as keto-friendly, and they have ingredients that deter 95% of all those things, but people still eat them, I have a problem with that. Not because you're choosing to eat it. If you choose to eat it, you're empowered to do so. I have a problem with the companies. Let me be clear. 90% of companies that slap keto friendly on their labels do not care about you as a person or your health. They simply study the easiest way to be able to honestly put that on their label, and they put it on there. It doesn't matter if they have to do canola oil. It doesn't matter if they have to do soybean oil. It doesn't matter if they have to do wheat fiber. They don't care. As long as they can say low net carb and keto friendly, high fat, whatever, they're going to do it. They could care less about the fat source. They could care less about the carb or fiber sources. They don't care. They do not care. There are very few companies, and we know them. We know the mom and pops, right? Keto Brick and High Key Snacks and these companies that actually genuinely care about making sure that they don't spike our blood sugar and that the foods are actually coming from clean ingredients, right? Heck, the Food Bar is another one, right? Like they don't do chicory root fiber. Like they actually find cleaner sources of fibers, and they use allulose, which is much better than erythritol in some cases, depending on your gut microbiome stability. So definitely there are companies out there that are great, but a lot of them, dude, they don't care about you. They just want your money. And we are a consumer-based nation, community, culture. And so we see keto on something and we buy it. We get excited. Guys, it's just... I put this up on Instagram, okay? This jar. It says keto-friendly. They're very proud of this keto-friendly. It's on their big list of things that it caters towards. The first ingredient is canola oil. Did you know that studies have shown that canola oil and other seed oils can play into insulin resistance? Yes. So even if you're keeping blood sugar low, if your fats are coming from sources of fats that increase insulin resistance, you're negating the whole point of keeping your blood sugar low. Sorry. That's so frustrating. And it's sad because this isn't explained to a lot of people. And there's so many influencers that are out there that have so many followers that say as long as you're in nutritional ketosis, everything else is gold. And then these people's weight loss is super slow, or their hormones are all over the place and they can't figure out why. And it's because they're told, well, as long as your ketones are above 0.5, everything's fine. Everything is not fine, okay? Your body deserves better. Canola oil, blah. Soybean oil, blah. Wheat gluten, blah. Wheat fiber, blah. Guys, wheat is a frankenfood. Canola oil is a frankenfood. Soybeans are a frankenfood. Okay, what do I mean by that? I mean, to be able to get them to the point that they're at, they have to be highly processed, they're full of estrogenic compounds, or they're full of inflammatory compounds, or they're full of compounds that cause insulin resistance, or they're full of compounds that cause gastric distress. Literally, the only thing that they do is keep blood sugar low. And that's not even the case for some people. But let's just say they do. That's it. That's all they got going for them. But that's the problem too, and that's why I changed my Instagram name to Coach John, and because the word keto has developed these extremes, and it's either it's about trying to figure out the best way to fit in these foods that that got you into this position in the first place, or it's just about fitting these two dogmas of blood sugar and blood ketones. That's all that matters. But if you want optimal health, that's not all that matters. The sources of fats you eat. The types of fibers that you intake, how much fiber you intake. Are you eating prebiotic foods? Are you eating animal proteins? Are you eating animal fats? Are you promoting companies that sell you garbage just because it says keto on it and you're trying to justify eating garbage? How are you really playing this out? And again, if your goal is, I made a podcast about this earlier this week too. If your goal is to simply be low blood sugar and in nutritional ketosis, by all means, don't listen to me. But if you're trying to be healthy, if you're trying to pursue health in your life, this is not the way to do it. Not the way to do it. These foods are garbage. And let me be honest. There are times that I have had foods that I would consider keto friendly or whatever. And yeah, sure, one of the ingredients at the bottom of the list is canola oil. But that's 0.0000. That is my treat. A lot of people eat keto treats all the time, and then their cheat is eating something off plan on the weekend. But that's why. If you make the keto treat the occasional treat, you're much less likely to go to the other food. So me, I eat whole foods 99.99% of the time. And when I do decide to eat off plan, it's a keto treat, right? I keep that for the treat. And a lot of people don't play it like that. They eat these keto frankenfoods or whatever majority of the time because they're not willing to go through that couple of weeks of white knuckling it and getting their body used to eating what it's supposed to be eating. And then on the weekends, they just go off plan. And they can't figure out why it's so hard for them to stick to it. And it's because they haven't challenged those cravings at all. They haven't built better habits at all. The only thing they've done is eaten keto versions, which eventually will build up to a craving of the actual thing. If you're constantly craving cheesecake and you keep making keto cheesecakes and you're eating one a night, like one of the single ones, eventually you're going to cave and have an actual cheesecake slice. Most of the time. Again, I'm not judging. I'm not here to judge. I am ranting my own personal opinion. If you don't like it, I don't care. But if I'm telling you, this is more of a rant than a What is Health episode, I'm realizing. Optimal health comes through optimal food. Bottom line. You should be eating healthy fats. You should be eating animal proteins and animal fats. You should be eating low-carb veggies. Fruit, berries, and melons, go for it. I eat strawberries. Occasionally I have blueberries. Occasionally I have cantaloupe. They're all less than 10 carbs per 100 grams. I have those. Stay away from the sugar alcohols. Try to stick to monk fruit and stevia, especially monk fruit. It's got a lot of antioxidants and health properties. And yeah, you follow those rules. I mean, you're doing this right. It doesn't matter if some days you're not nutritional keto. I would rather somebody eat a whole food ketogenic diet and some days be at 0.4, right? Then them eat low-carb tortillas with mayo on them from soybean oil and be at 0.5, right? I'm not saying that's how it is, but that's an example of I would rather option A be happening because you're helping the rest of your system too. You're not just fitting the dogmas. So it just frustrates me because there's a lot of things that go around blood sugar and ketones, right? If you're more fat adapted, you're not going to register nutritional ketosis as much. Unless I'm fasting for over 18 hours, I very rarely get above 0.6. Ever. I think the highest I've gotten when I ran one time, I got to 1.2, which is super high for me. My body just is really good at running on fat. There's no reason to have a bunch of it lingering in my blood, which if you want to see a What is Health episode on blood ketones, I can go way more into depth. My point is though, is it's not that black and white, and to own and only focusing on those two variables and nothing else about your health, it leaves room to consume foods like that. And so like for me, like that's the thing, is like I want you to think about it like this. Going forward, if you really want to challenge yourself, visualize it like this. Look at the food and say, do I want to be made out of that? Because you are what you eat, and that is a very literal fact. When you eat a Twinkie, those fats and carbs are broken down, those proteins that are in it are broken down, and they're turned into your cell membranes. They're turned into the myelin sheath around your nerves. They are turned into nutrients. You are literally getting made out of that Twinkie. So when you eat something, you need to look at it and go, do I want my body made out of this? Honestly, that's how I look at food, and that's one of the number one reasons I won't go off keto. That's one of the number one reasons that I won't eat a bunch of refined carbs anymore, or I won't eat a bunch of like I don't know, I just don't want my body made out of sweet potato. I'm just not there, right? Like I'd rather it be made out of beef and the occasional squash or zucchini or salad. When I look at food, I think, do I want my body to be made out of that? And, not the sweet potato is bad. That was just because I said refined carbs, so I wanted to use a more complex example of complex carbohydrates. But it's more like, like when I see like refined floured cake or ice cream or Twinkies, I don't crave that stuff. Not because I don't think it will taste good, but because I look at it and I go, I would never want my body to be made out of that, because it used to be, and my body was crap. So that's enough of that rant. Anyways, I hope that encouraged you. If it didn't encourage you, I'm sorry. If you didn't like it and you're offended, I'm not sorry. But yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to respond. We can go back and forth. That's fine. Okay, rant over. Bye.